So where feminism fails is that highlighting the difference between men and women does not work in women's favor because they are treated better as it is. Whether you look at it as ladies first, men putting on capes to save women, women being seen as more precious and more important in society, men are disposable, etc., etc. Now, the strengths in feminism are that you have intellectual and intelligent homosexuals. You have educated women, okay? Remember, education does not equal insight, and insight is really what you need. You need achievements and you need insight. So when you take men, say the Mgtow movement, which has tons of achievements, and you take the insight of man, which is greater than women, and if you don't think that's the case, then you really need to look at the history books. You really need to look at society carefully. I'm not going to waste my time explaining that one. That to me is self-evident, okay? And there's a tenable argument for the reason why that is. And also you look at Mgtow has more articulate spokespersons. Anita Sarkeesian, Emma Watson, Gabriela Ramirez, I think her name was. You know, all these people are fucking idiots, okay? They're not articulate. Well, they're kind of articulate, but they're not insightful. They're not accomplished. They don't really do anything. You take someone as accomplished as myself, the top martial artist in California. You take the accomplishments of the Wright brothers, who basically were men who went their own way before the movement started. You take the accomplishments of men in general who are sticking up for themselves more and more every day. It outweighs the accomplishments of the feminist crowd and the homosexual crowd by far. So we have the insights, we have the accomplishments on our side, and we have more articulate and better spokespersons, such as Sandman. And I'm not a spokesperson myself, but just the fact that I am on the Mgtow side tips the scale even more. The Mgtows are already winning. Our arguments hold far more weight. They make far more sense. We've destroyed their arguments. And their arguments are senseless, tasteless. You know, it doesn't take a genius to surmise that we have come to a point where we are just clowning on feminism, okay? And the fact that I treat the religious crowd with deference, esteem, regard, and God with reverence, you know, gives us another huge advantage because the majority of people are religious. So who are you appealing to, feminists? You're idiots. What you're doing is a movement that was started by a male fraternity, the Illuminati and Freemasonry. Why do you think they started it? Because they knew once you went down that route that more people would become gay, would be one of the side effects and possible adverse effects of it. And the other thing would be is that men would be put on more of a pedestal and be given more rights, ultimately, when you highlight the different treatment of the two. And the hypocrisy and the logical fallacies that are propagated by women would come to light and you would be completely played out. And that is what's going on. As the Mgtow movement is going up and feminism is kind of slowing down, arguably going down, but some might argue this going up, but it's at a slower rate regardless how you look at it, if it is going up. Women's hypocrisy is coming to light. You know, how selfish and evil and petty women are is coming out there. Let's look at religion. Why do they attack religion? Religion is what gives women their equality, whether they want to admit it or not. Because when you look at, let's say, a man being a player, a man who's a player is a player according to society, according to logic without religion. A woman who's being a player is a slut, a whore, according to society, according to logic without religion. But once you apply Islam, Judaism, or Christianity, a man who's being a slut is now a fornicator, the same as a woman who's being a slut is a fornicator. A man who cheats on his wife is an adulteress, the same as a woman cheating on his wife is an adulteress. So it's religion that gives you the equality. It's religion that doesn't shame women for being sluts more than men. And that's another thing that they're full of hypocrisy about. How come they cry about women being slut shaming, but they don't say a word about men being called man whores? Like women should have sovereignty over their bodies. What about man's sovereignty? If you're saying it's okay for a woman to be a slut and you're turning around and calling men man whores, I mean, you know, they're so full of hypocrisy. They're so full of stupidity, and their lack of insight is completely highlighted. And the more educated women you get in your movement, the less respect women will get, because people will start coming to my point of view that I've came to a long, long time ago, that education does not equal insight, and that even when women are educated and have more information to be insightful with, they're still not insightful. That is what's going to be the conclusion. So feminism is doing what is not in women's best interest. The religious community is, and they're attacking the only group of people that openly and massively sticks up for women. Think about it. Think about it. It's pathetic. It's unexcusable. They're full of unbelief, disbelief, unbelievers, and disbelievers. And when I say that, I don't just mean in religion. I mean in women themselves. Because why would you have to stick up for women in the first place when they already have this position of advantage? And you're creating a disadvantage for women. Because now the esteem that they had before is going to be coming into question. It's going to come into question. People are going to say, why did we respect women that much in the first place when this is how they really feel? They're coming out with it like, blah, this is how we feel. Cutting their hair short, wilding the fuck out, getting all kinds of earrings and nose rings and dyeing their hair and acting like crazy fucking sluts. See, you don't understand that homosexuals recruited lesbians to start the feminist movement. Not to be confused with the women's rights movement, but the modern day feminist movement. Not Abigail Adams, but Emma Watson. You understand me? Not the original women who stood up for women's rights and, and women who fought in the Revolutionary War, but Emma Watson, Gabrielle Ramirez, Lacey Green, these kind of whores, Angelina Jolie, these kind of bisexual demons who have no place in the realm of logic. So how are you going to defeat our spokespersons when they are so much better than yours? And the core of logic that they have to pull from, such as myself, when we are far more insightful and far more accomplished than they are. And yes, I consider being the top martial artist in California, possibly the entire United States, possibly any Western country, as a great accomplishment. Only a dumb motherfucker wouldn't. And my challenge is still on the table. Up to $3,000 to whoever can beat me sparring to 10. And that would probably take less than half an hour. How many people make $3,000 in less than half an hour? That's like making $6,000 if you times it by 2 in less than an hour. Who the fuck makes that, right? The top 1%. That's who. So how many martial artists do you know are from the top 1%? Those old fogies? They ain't going to step in any kind of ring anytime soon. So it comes down to all these people who would love to make that amount of money aren't accepting it because they can't beat me. Thank you.